and welcome to episode 12 of the Kayvman Show. And today we are moving deeper into the training section of the podcast, and we will be discussing intensity. And I'm using this because I don't want people to get confused when I say play. So we were talking about the importance of play in fitness, and that another word for fitness really is it's a type of play, right? And understanding, using that as a framework will give you a lot more progress, because you're going to be able to, if you're enjoying your workouts, you're going to be able to focus on these two principles a lot better. First one being intensity, and the second one being consistency, right? And those sound almost opposite, but you need both of them. It's two ends of the lollipop, right? Two extremes. Intensity in the short term, you need high intensity workouts, and intensity can come in very many different forms, by the way. Don't get played by this, the buzzwords of fitness where we say high intensity interval training. That's one small form, and it's a good form, it's a useful form, but it's one small form. Don't get confused when I say intensity. On the other end is consistency, and that's over time. That's not within a workout. You don't want consistency within one workout. You want consistency of staying in the game over a long enough time to reap the rewards and to taste the fruits of your work. Most people fail in one or both of these two principles. So intensity is basically pushing yourself to a stimulus that you are not used to. Okay, I'm going to define it like that. Within each workout, giving yourself a stimulus that you are not used to, and that is above your comfortable capabilities. So either on the edge or outside of your comfort zone, right? It's correlated closely with failure. So working to failure, not having easy workouts. Do not confuse play, easy, right? There was a book written by one of the high intensity guys who, I forgot his name now, but it was something like, if you're enjoying your workout, you're doing it wrong. And that sounds like it's the opposite of what I'm saying, but it's also true. So you're going to have to be able to walk and chew gum here at the same time. There are two truths, they sound like they're opposite when you put them in words, but you have to marry these two things together. I'm telling you that you do need to enjoy your workouts. You do need to love your workouts. You do need to have a sense of play and creativity and a childishness to your workouts in general. But each workout have to be a little bit of pain, right? There does have to be a little bit of intensity. You ultimately have to learn to enjoy that pain. So this works with regard to skill development. So if you're trying to be a better dancer, or a better soccer player, or a better MMA fighter, or whatever your sport is, a better volleyball player, or even a better guitar player, this works with, I'm guessing with learning instruments and other things too, because skill development and strength development and athletic development are all kind of really the same thing. Again, all has to be within that framework of play. And so coming back to the intensity principle, the way you are going to progress, and if you're not interested in progress, you're just interested in maintaining things, then that's fine, I guess. My experience is you're kind of going one or two ways. You're either going up or you're going down. Unfortunately, maintenance is, it works for your plumbing, maybe for your car, but for human beings, I don't know if we can maintain. I think change is just the fabric of our nature, and you're either changing positively or you're changing negatively. So I would look for progress, and if we're not here to excel, then what are we here for? But I would look towards progress, and the way you're going to progress is with this intensity principle over time. And this we're not going to cover time right now. We're not going to cover consistency and long-term strategy here. We're going to focus on short-term strategy, and short-term strategy should always be intensity, meaning every workout that you do should be new to some extent. It should be fresh, and it should be your best. You should be looking for your personal best in every workout. You're not going to hit it every time, right? Because that's just life. Like, you're going to have bad days here and there. But generally speaking, I'd say 80% of your workouts, you should be hitting a personal best, and 100% of your workouts, you should be looking for it. Maybe not 100. Maybe there will be a week where you say, you know what, I'm going to have an easy week. Then you may want to program that in. Use this as a rule that I just pulled out of thin air. 80% of your workouts, you should be looking for your personal best. Now, here are some corollaries, right? Meaning some offshoots of this principle, and some tips. Keep your workouts short. Your progression is going to be dictated by the highest stimulus you achieve in each workout. That means, if I had a board, I could draw it. What you want is a spike in intensity, and then you want recovery. High intensity, high recovery, which means low intensity. So you want to get in the gym, you want to go hard, and then you want to leave it and go home. These marathon 1 hour, 2 hour workouts, all it's doing is you are draining your resources and you are lowering your intensity. Because, for example, if you're doing 10 sets of 10, each of those sets of 10 can only be done at 75% intensity, because you are saving yourself. yourself. You're saving your resources for the 8th, 9th, 10th set. If you were to do, on the other extreme, one set, you could put all your resources into it, and your adaptation will be to that one set. Let's picture two people here, right? And we're using muscle building as an example, but it works for everything else. We said this before. There are two people. One of them can pick up a car and lift it above his head. What does person A look like? Now, think of person B. Let's say he is an indentured laborer, aka a slave in the fields or wherever. He's a slave. He's working all day, 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, constantly just chopping plants, okay? All day long, uprooting plants. What does he or she look like? The person who can pick up a car is going to be far more muscular than the slave in the fields, who's able to do more work in a way, but is able to do only low-level work over a long period of time. Another way of looking at it is a sprinter versus a marathon runner. Now, but if you're trying to build muscle, you want to look more like a sprinter, obviously, than a marathon runner. You need that spike in intensity. Doing high-intense work for a short period of time is going to build more muscle than doing very low-intensity work for a long period of time. In the context of marathon running, you're changing that intensity principle, right? So that intensity principle is how long can you go for work? But that's going to be a separate thing. If your goal is to build muscle or to develop skill or to develop athletic prowess, what you need is to be able to push yourself to higher loads of intensity. And the way you do that is by being very, very efficient with your workouts, having short, intense workouts, and do no more sets than you need to get the job done. So that might look like, I only do half an hour sessions with my clients for weight training. That might look like 10-minute workouts. That might look like 15-minute workouts. I think we all know intuitively that if you did a 1-minute workout, that wouldn't be long enough. But we also know if we did a 2-hour workout, I think most of us know that that's probably too much, right? So look, it's going to be somewhere in between. The biggest mistake I see people make is just aimlessly going through the motions for time, training for time. You do not need to train for time. You need to train for intensity. Wash the time. Find out what you want to progress in. Pick 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Work at them. Make sure, find how much work you need to do to get the best out of it. Aim for your peak intensity. And again, intensity can come in many different forms. It can mean high weight. It can mean high reps. It can mean high time under tension in that set. But it doesn't mean volume. Lots and lots and lots of low grade work. It means a short, and short just depends on the context, whatever it means for you. You're going to have to, figure this one out for yourself. And I can help you with this if you need it. If you have any questions, I'll help you. But for example, one set of high intense work, and that set might last 2 minutes, a straight 2-minute set, is going to build more muscle than 5 sets of medium intensity work. That should crystallize it for you. And that intensity can be a high level of skill, or it can be a high level of weight, or it can be a high level of rep, whatever it is, time under tension, whatever it is. Basically focus on quality over quantity. It's hard for me to just explain this in words. So if this podcast, if this piques your interest and you want to learn more about this, DM me, comment, whatever, get in contact and let me know if you want to know more about the intensity principles. But I'll summarize it just by saying that focus on quality, not quantity. Keep your workouts short and hard. Remember this, go hard and go home. And in the next episode, we will be talking about consistency, which is kind of the other side of this coin, which is almost like the opposite of this, where you're thinking not about short, intense sprints of work, but you're thinking about the marathon element, going for a long time, thinking about your results over the course of months, maybe even years, as opposed to weeks. So that's the second mistake people make, and it's the second most important facet of training, a guideline of training that you're going to have that is going to keep you on the path to success. And remember, when I say high intensity workouts and when I say lots of consistency, like long-term projects, you should still enjoy this stuff. It's really imperative that you enjoy this stuff. Nobody gets anywhere doing shit they hate. That's not a formula for success. Find out what you love and find out what you're willing to put up with, right, for that, and then keep your workouts intense. All right, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.